Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're tackling a massive, literally headache-inducing logistical challenge that anyone in marketing or event management knows all too well. We're talking about managing thousands of calendar invites automatically. Today, we're looking at a tool called the Calendar Invite Server, and our approach is super simple. We're just going to follow the data.
I mean, think about the sheer scale of a major sports league for a second. How do you actually manage, distribute, and track thousands of event invites seamlessly? Imagine manually updating 2,500 individual games in some clunky third-party software platform. No way, right? You'd lose your mind. It's an absolute nightmare. So today, we'll explore how to handle mass event distribution without dealing with any of those frustrating interfaces. And we're using a massive, real-world example as our guide, an organizer building out the entire Major League Baseball 2026 schedule.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll meet the calendar invite server. Second, we're building the event pipeline. Third, we'll check out the customer RSVP experience. Fourth, tracking data and analytics. And finally, sending out dynamic event updates. We're going to follow the data step by step, tracing a single event's journey from the organizer's calendar all the way to the analytics dashboard.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. Meet the Calendar Invite Server, basically the remote control for your events.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that this system uses standard calendar clients, like the Google Calendar or Outlook you already use every single day, as the absolute source of truth. You don't have to learn some massive new software suite to manage your events. The whole shebang revolves around basic CRUD operations. That's create, read, update, and delete. By just using the native edit and save functions already built right into your calendar, you're literally turning it into a powerful, enterprise-grade, back-end remote control. It's just an incredibly elegant solution.
Moving right along to Section 2, building the event pipeline, where we'll look at inbound data processing. Let's watch our organizer, Greg, build out his massive 2,500-game sports schedule. Notice how he just creates calendar events using his normal, native Google Calendar client. He fills out the date, the time, the location, exactly like he's inviting a buddy to lunch. But here is the secret sauce. He adds a very specific creation email address, like create@calendarsnack.com, as a guest on the invite.
This magic email address acts as an automated gateway for all of his event data. The second Greg hits save, his standard calendar invite is immediately routed straight into an AWS Simple Email Service, or SES, mailbox. This is the critical first checkpoint.
So the crucial thing to understand is that the workflow happens in 3 distinct steps, right in the background. First, the calendar invite hits that SES mailbox for ETL. That's extract, transform, load. Next, the invite is completely disassembled and stored as a brand new event. And third, it gets assigned a sticky unique identifier, or UID. This permanently links Greg's organizer email and the event UID together, which carves out a super clear path for programmatic access later on.
All of this extracted event data now lives securely inside a massive digital filing cabinet. In this case, an AWS DynamoDB database. And because it has that sticky UID attached to it, it's perfectly organized and ready to be recalled by the system's display APIs the exact moment it's needed to generate a public web page or an email campaign.
Which brings us to Section 3, the customer RSVP experience, taking it from display APIs directly to user action.
Let's see how Greg's data actually transforms for our end customer, Zach. On the back end, Greg quickly configures his layout in a marketing hub. Almost instantly, the display APIs pull that raw data from DynamoDB to populate a live, beautifully formatted customer schedule. Zach can simply jump on there, enter his email address at the top, browse the games, and click to send an invite for whatever he wants to attend.
The very moment Zach enters his email and asks for that invite, the system springs into action. You can think of the API gateway as a sort of digital courier. It matches Zach's email to the stored event UID, grabs the specific event data, reassembles the calendar invite package, and pushes it right out to him.
Almost instantly, Zach gets the official calendar invite sitting right there in his Gmail inbox for the Baltimore Orioles versus Tampa Bay Rays game. He can click yes to RSVP. But remember, this isn't just a static action on his end. This RSVP is actually a really powerful two-way data trigger that sends a signal right back to Greg. And that brings us to Section 4, tracking data and analytics. This is where we close the RSVP loop.
Once Zach responds, we really get to see the power of the system's return path. When he clicks yes, his calendar client automatically generates a calendar receipt. That receipt is caught and processed by an AWS Lambda function, which is basically just a tiny, incredibly fast piece of automated code. It sends the receipt right back through the gateway to be securely logged and stored in DynamoDB. So back in the reporting hub, Greg can instantly pull up his analytics dashboard. He can use the search bar to look up that exact Orioles versus Rays game and immediately verify the performance of his campaign. He sees exactly who responded and how, which essentially grounds all that complex back-end cloud architecture into a perfectly readable human use case. And just look at the specific data points being captured here. Every single calendar receipt collects highly precise intelligence straight from the user's RSVP action. Greg grabs the invitee's email, their name, their exact RSVP status, the origin of where they clicked the invite, and of course that trusty event UID. Guys, this is pure first-party data gold for any marketer. It saves literally countless hours of manual reconciliation.
Now for our final section, Section 5, Sending Dynamic Event Updates. Let's see the update processor in action. Because let's face it, plans change, and marketers absolutely love to run promotions. What happens if a customer, let's call her Mandy, RSVPs maybe to a game, and Greg wants to incentivize her to finally commit? Well, Greg doesn't need to log into a complicated marketing platform. He just opens up his native Google Calendar, finds the event, and adds a VIP merch promo right into the description. He types something like, "Stop by booth 788 for a signed Orioles merch t-shirt at the game, limited supply of just 250 t-shirts." Hitting save instantly alters the event parameters.
The exact moment Greg hits save on his calendar, the workflow recognizes it as an update request for that specific UID. It triggers the system's update processor to complete the data transformation, update the database, and fire off an updated invite package straight into Mandy's inbox. It's a beautiful way to nudge your maybe into a yes.
And simultaneously, the display data APIs update all public landing pages, web schedules, and email call to action buttons to reflect this brand new promotional state. And of course, every single automated action and data change is securely logged. It's total synchronization, and it's driven entirely by a simple, everyday calendar edit.
By bridging these familiar calendar interfaces with such a powerful, automated backend architecture, the fundamental takeaway from this explainer is really summed up nicely right here. Your calendar is your database. You're leveraging a tool you already know exactly how to use to command an incredibly complex, high-volume data pipeline.
It leaves us with a totally fascinating question regarding the future of event marketing. If a simple save command in your standard calendar can instantly automate, update, and track thousands of dynamic invites across landing pages and individual inboxes, what other massive marketing bottlenecks could this workflow eliminate for your organization today? Just how far can we push our native, everyday tools to manage complex back-end workflows? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.